A quiet beekeeper brings a jar of honey to the woman who saved him, and before the next sunrise, her empty house turns him into the most dangerous man in America. This is The Beekeeper, where one online scam pulls a retired assassin back into a system he was never supposed to touch again. Adam Clay lives on Eloise Parker's farm in rural Massachusetts, renting space in her barn and caring for his hives with almost religious patience. When hornets threaten the bees, he deals with them calmly, while Eloise watches with the warmth of someone who sees him as more than a tenant. To Eloise, Adam is the quiet man who revived her broken land and gave her life back some purpose. To Adam, she is the rare person who offered him shelter without asking what kind of past he was hiding. That small kindness is what makes the next betrayal hit so hard far away from the farm. A slick call center runs like a casino, full of young operators coached to sound helpful while they hunt vulnerable people. One worker reaches Eloise through a fake computer warning, pretending to fix a harmless subscription problem, then slowly walks her toward a trap. Eloise admits she is not good with computers, which is exactly what the scammer wants to hear. He guides her to install remote access software, watches her accounts open up, and realizes she is connected to personal savings, retirement funds, and a charity account worth millions. The scam becomes theater. The caller pretends he made a terrible banking mistake, claims his job and family are at risk, and pressures Eloise to send the money back. But the moment she follows his instructions, the criminals drain everything, including the charity fund she was trusted to protect at the call center. The workers celebrate like they won a championship, but Eloise sits alone in her home, staring at the damage. Her savings are gone. The charity money is gone. And the shame hits her harder than the theft itself. By the time Adam comes by, it is too late. Verona Parker, Eloise's daughter and an FBI agent, arrives at the house shattered and furious. Adam is found nearby, and because he's a strange man with no easy explanation, Verona treats him like a suspect before she lets herself think like a grieving daughter. Adam tells her he only came with honey and noticed something was wrong. His hands are clean of evidence, and the scene points to Eloise taking her own life. But Verona refuses to accept the simple version, because her mother loved life too much to leave without being pushed later. Verona sits with Adam and finally tells him what happened. Eloise was scammed out of her savings, retirement, and a charity account holding $2 million. Cybercrime has no name strong enough for court, and the law may not move fast enough to touch anyone involved. Adam listens without raising his voice, but the way he talks about older people reveals the switch has already flipped. He sees them as parents of the hive, people who deserve protection because they cannot always protect themselves. When Verona says she cares, Adam quietly decides caring is not enough. He returns to his barn, reaches out to an old contact, and asks for a favor that sounds simple, but is not. The contact traces the scam through layers of digital misdirection and finds a physical company tied to the attack, United Data Group, a place the FBI cannot yet reach. Adam walks into United Data Group like a maintenance man with nothing to lose. Security tries to stop him, but he barely treats them as obstacles. Inside, the call center is still running, with operators stealing from strangers in real time. And Adam's patience finally disappears. He forces the workers to understand what they have been doing, not as a business model, but as predation. Then he soaks the place with fuel, warns the innocent and the cowardly to leave, and makes it clear that this hive has become diseased enough to burn the guards' attack. And Adam dismantles them with brutal efficiency, never acting rushed, never acting surprised. He gives the scammers a choice between leaving and staying, with the consequences. And when the building goes up, United Data Group becomes the first message in a war nobody understands yet. Danforth, the rich young man behind the operation, hears that one of his call centers has been destroyed and reacts less like a victim than an owner whose machine has been interrupted. He wants a name, footage, anything. But the fire erased the evidence and left only a beekeeper-shaped problem. Derek calls Wallace Westwyld, an old intelligence heavyweight who now cleans up his disasters. Wallace is not impressed by Derek's panic, but he understands the danger when the attacker's strange bee language comes up, because to Wallace, this is not a branding gimmick. It is a warning siren. Meanwhile, Verona and her partner Matt Wiley investigate the burn call center. They connect it back to Eloise and start realizing Adam was not a random tenant. He appeared at her house. United Data Group scammed her, and then the place was erased from the map by a man. With beehives, Derek sends a crew of hired muscle to Adam's barn, expecting some countryside eccentric who can be scared off. Instead, they find a man perfectly comfortable being hunted. Adam turns the attack back on them, survives the ambush, and sends a much louder message straight to Derek. One terrified survivor ends up in Derek's car. Forced to describe the attacker and his obsession with protecting the hive, Derek laughs at first because the word beekeeper sounds absurd. Then Wallace hears it and becomes genuinely afraid, which is the first time Derek understands money may not solve this. Wallace reaches out to old contacts and learns the worst version is true. Adam is not just a beekeeper who keeps bees. He is a beekeeper from a secret off-the-books program, a retired operator given freedom, resources, and a mission to protect the country when its systems fail. The mythology sounds ridiculous until Wallace explains the logic. A nation is like a hive, full of workers, caretakers, and royalty. If corruption poisons the hive and the ordinary guardians cannot correct it, beekeepers operate outside the normal chain of command, and they do not retire in any meaningful way. A current beekeeper is sent to stop Adam, but that only proves how far this has escalated. She tracks him with military hardware and attacks hard. Yet Adam survives the confrontation. The organization meant to control him now has to admit he has gone off program and is moving toward a larger target. Verona and Wiley find the aftermath and see equipment that does not belong to street criminals. The vehicle, the weapons, and Adam's non-existent paper trail all point to the same impossible answer. He is a ghost with training beyond any database, and he's already heading towards Springfield. Wallace explains to Derek that Adam's goal is not revenge against one call center, it is to climb the hive, find the top, and remove the person responsible. Derek is used to buying protection, but Wallace makes it plain, if Adam reaches the top, everyone connected gets judged at the FBI. Verona tries to brief her superiors without sounding insane. She lays out the crime scenes, Adam's tradecraft, and the possibility of a covert program nobody will acknowledge. The deputy director brushes past the secret program language, but he cannot ignore the next target. 9-Star United in Boston. 9-Star United is the central engine of the scam network, a gleaming office where managers treat stolen money like sales numbers. Workers compete over totals while victims remain invisible, and Derek's people rush in with private security to protect the cash machine before Adam can reach it. Adam arrives with the building surrounded, but he does not begin by attacking. He contacts the authorities and says he wants the innocent people cleared out. That is the difference between him and the men he is hunting. He may be dangerous, but he is not there for bystanders. The call center manager refuses to shut down because every ringing phone is profit. Security draws weapons. Employees hesitate, and Adam turns the lobby into a battlefield. He pushes through trained men, locked doors, and panic, moving upward through the company, like a bee following the scent of poison inside. Adam corners the manager and forces him to face the human cost behind the numbers. He tells him about Eloise, an educator, a mother, a woman who helped him when nobody else did. Then he demands the name above 9-Star, because nobody in this chain gets to hide. The manager finally reveals the untouchable person behind it, Derek Danforth. Adam records enough truth to move on, but Verona reaches him before he can disappear. She believes him, yet she is still sworn to arrest him, and that conflict becomes the heart of her part in the story. Adam tells Verona that laws exist for moments like this until they fail. She tries to take him in anyway, and he escapes through chaos while Wiley barely survives the madness around them. Verona is left with the worst realization. Adam may be a criminal, but he is chasing the right monster at Derek's world. Panic becomes strategy. Wallace realizes Adam will not stop at Derek's businesses because Derek's mother is Jessica Danforth, the President of the United States. The scam money may have helped power her campaign, which means the hive's corruption may reach the Queen herself. Derek hides behind his mother's security event, turning a presidential gathering into a shield. Wallace hates the plan because it drags innocent people into Adam's path. But Derek is desperate. He has spent his life being protected by wealth, family, and lawyers, and now none of those feel solid. Verona faces her own impossible choice. Her mother is dead because of the conspiracy, and Adam is the only person making the guilty afraid. But she's an FBI agent, not a vigilante, and Wiley reminds her that even if Adam is right, they still have to decide who they are. The FBI uncovers the political layer. Nine-Star United used data mining tools and scam money that connect back toward Danforth Enterprises and Jessica's self-funded campaign. The deputy director realizes this is no longer just cybercrime. It is a scandal big enough to threaten the presidency and maybe the country. At the coastal Danforth estate, security locks down every approach. Private contractors, federal agents, and presidential protection all crowd the property. Wallace brings in his best people and still looks worried because every plan assumes Adam attacks like a normal man. And Adam is never done that. Jessica Danforth notices the fear around her and confronts Derek. At first, he tries to dodge with arrogance and jokes, but the pressure cracks him open. She understands something ugly is hiding under his businesses, and her own rise too. Power may have been fed by money. She did not question closely enough. Derek is not a mastermind in the grand calm sense. He's a spoiled heir who turned his father's empire into a predatory machine, then used intelligence-grade tools to find money and weak points. When Jessica demands the truth, he but admits he built a fortune from people who could not fight back. The estate becomes a maze of guns, alarms, and bad assumptions. Clay slips into the property despite the lockdown, and every team that thinks it has him boxed in learns the same lesson. A beekeeper does not need a clear path when every guard creates a new opening one by one. Adam cuts through the hired specialists, including the most frightening protector. Wallace is left. The violence is fast and mostly wordless, but the point is not spectacle. It is inevitability. Every layer Derek bought for himself fails, and the hive's poison keeps leading Adam inward while Adam closes in. Jessica decides she will tell the truth about Derek and the money, even if it costs her office and destroys her family. Derek sees that as betrayal, because in his world truth is only useful when it protects him. Now even his mother is no longer a safe wall. Adam finally reaches the inner room with Wallace, Jessica, and Derek. Wallace stands between them and tries to pull Adam back from the edge. He argues that beekeepers exist for society, not personal revenge. But Adam answers from a place beyond orders. Eloise made this personal by being good. Wallace also knows the system is compromised, but he still believes the system must survive. Adam sees the opposite. He says men like Wallace and Derek are exactly why beekeepers are needed, because powerful people keep building protections around themselves until justice can no longer get through. Then Adam gives Verona the choice he's been forcing on everyone all along. She can serve the written law, or she can serve justice when the law has been bought. Verona has him in reach. But she also sees Derek with no remorse, and Jessica, ready to expose the truth. Derek makes the final mistake. Cornered and panicking, he turns on his own mother and tries to end the problem his way. Adam reacts first and stops him. The heir who thought every consequence could be outsourced finally meets one he cannot pay away. The room explodes into movement. Agents rush in. Jessica is pulled to safety, and Verona calls out to Clay as he slips away. She has a clear chance to stop him, but not a clear answer about whether she should. So Adam dives into the water and vanishes from the broken hive. By the end, the call centers are exposed. Derek is gone. Jessica must face the truth, and Verona is left standing between badge and conscience. Adam returns to the only life he ever wanted, not because he is harmless, but because the hive is quiet for now. The beekeeper works because its revenge story is simple on the surface and poisonous underneath. One lonely woman is robbed by a screen, and the man she once protected tears open the machine behind it. If you enjoyed watching Clay, follow the trail of honey and corruption. Keep your own hive clean and choose the next recap like it matters. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.